Good afternoon, Year 3 and 4, and welcome back to Story Time with the Midnight Gang, Chapter 22, Snotted. I asked, "Where have you been all this time?" It was Sally. The little girl with the pale skin and the bald head was still in her bed in the far corner of the children's ward. Once again she had been left behind as the other kids had their adventures. "Nowhere," answered Amber curtly. She was still smarting after having been dropped on the floor by the boys as she was being delivered back into her bed. "You can't have been nowhere," replied Sally. "You must have been somewhere." "Go back to sleep," hissed Amber. "No," replied Sally. "Tom promised he would tell me all about the night's adventures, didn't you, Tom?" All the children turned towards Tom, who was sliding between the sheets on his bed. "Well," said Tom. Inside, the boy was squirming. He knew beyond any doubt that the other three would hate having the secrets of the Midnight Gang divulged to anyone outside the circle of trust. The boy hesitated. He felt torn. Tom had only just sworn an oath to the Midnight Gang, but his heart ached for Sally, who they'd left alone in the ward night after night. However, he felt as if he had no choice. "I didn't promise anything," he replied. Immediately, Tom felt a deep pang of shame to have lied. "You did!" Sally's voice was cracking. The little girl was becoming increasingly upset with all of them. "Tonight, just after midnight, I asked Tom to take me with him. He said no, but I made him promise to tell me all about it afterwards." "Did you, Tom?" replied George. Tom hesitated for a moment before replying. "No." "You did!" protested Sally. "I didn't." Did. "Please be quiet," pleaded Amber. "No, I won't," replied Sally. For such a little girl, she had a very big voice. "Not until you tell me what happened tonight. I've watched you creep off after midnight, night after night. You need to tell me what you were getting up to." "Please, Sally, I beg you, go back to sleep," said Amber. "If Matron finds out, we'll all be in big trouble." "No!" shouted back Sally. The noise must have woken up Matron, as in an instant her snoring stopped. From the other side of the glass that divided the ward from Matron's office, the children watched as the lady rose unsteadily to her feet. Her hair was sticking up on end and her makeup was smeared across her face. She looked like a clown who had been dragged through a hedge backwards. With a wobble or two, Matron regained her composure and marched through the door into the ward. All the children kept as still as statues in their beds. They didn't even dare breathe, which rather gave the game away that something must be going on. "I know you nasty little beasts are up to no good," snarled Matron, "and perhaps you got away with it this time, but let me tell you I've got my eyes on each and every one of you." The lady paced up and down the beds, bringing her face close to each of the children. The smell of her perfume was so strong that when she reached Tom, the boy could actually feel it tickling his nose. For a terrifying moment, he thought he would sneeze. Then the feeling passed, before it came back again with a vengeance. "Achoo!" The boy sneezed right in Matron's face. Tom was so frightened that he didn't dare open his eyes to see the globules of snot, no doubt hanging like icicles from the lady's face. Instead, he kept his eyes tightly shut and pretended that his sneeze hadn't woken him up. Matron was so disgusted by having been snotted on so spectacularly that she retreated at speed into her office. Once inside, she put a pair of transparent rubber gloves on and removed the snot from her face with antiseptic wipe after antiseptic wipe. It was some time before she was satisfied that every speck of snot was removed. Then, to console herself, Matron had another chocolate. Instantly her eyes glazed over and she fell asleep again. Her head thudded on her table, and as the special snoozy pellet in the chocolates knocked her out. "Well done, you boy," hissed Amber to Tom. "This is all your fault. Why on earth did you promise Sally that you would tell her everything?" "I didn't promise anything." Tom was too deep into his lie to back out now. Each time he lied, the boy felt a little part of him inside die. "It doesn't matter now," whispered George. "All that matters is no one says another word tonight. Matron is on us. Got it?" "Yes, we've got it, dear," said Robin. Now you have to be quiet too. Stop being silly, Robin. Just stop talking and go to sleep. I would love to go to sleep as soon as you stop telling me to go to sleep and actually be quiet for one moment. Then I will. Will both of you stupid boys shut up and go to sleep right now? Whispered Amber. After that, none of them said another word. See you again soon.